sandstorm is approaching.
Sa mère, elle était lourde.
cowards!
Still there! I got reinforcements!
Identify your system one.
here. Reloading. So-called brethren of the desert, Fremen.
Infidel!
Fremen is a name that I say it is a name that sets them apart. It is a name no,
A large sandstorm is approaching. Sector weather alert. A large sandstorm is approaching. Sector weather alert. A large sandstorm is approaching.
She loves this. I bought her some gummy panties. I bought her some chocolate panties. It's a unique gift, but she'll love it. I haven't heard from Marie at all. Come, and we finally get... Oh, she was just on a minute ago. What's going on? But that's what I hope. That's what I hope. So I'm pretty excited right now.
But it is a very strong node for you to get, especially.
Oh, wait, I forgot all about this. Lily Tino is, quote, stepping away from social media after Florida Attorney General launched an investigation for recording women in the Disneyland restroom.
Recently, my content has taken a bit of a shift. I'm hurt because of the amount of hate.
You mean criticism? You mean people that are saying that you shouldn't be going after random service workers and then chastising them for not recognizing that you're a trans person?
Coconut bread from Thailand.
Yes, sir.
Cool. Ma'am.
Yeah, ma'am. And
I don't think I really want this bread tower, actually. I think I'd rather have the checks.
Okay. Not. I was wondering if there's a manager I could talk to about something that happened.
Hi. I use she, her pronouns. I'm not certain. Yeah, I'm just...
And then bullying them, and then complaining and pushing the issue even after they apologize, and then recording people that could happen to be underage in a Disneyland bathroom.
I've made it into Disney World, about to go and use the bathroom. There was this little girl.
And then having discussions about getting your dick cut off, using Disneyland food with children in the background, and that's hate. Oh, I don't think that's hate.
It has influenced the way that I do things. I'm always on camera, talking all the time, daily updates.
Can you imagine talking to a camera all day? Yeah, I know there's some people that work out in oil rigs or work in a kitchen 8 hours a day, but can you imagine sitting in front of a camera, eating food and complaining that the restaurant worker that doesn't speak English used the wrong gender for you?
The hurt that I feel has influenced the way.
Yeah, I mean, alignment in an electrical shock can kill him, so it's kind of in a way the same thing.
So to that end, I'm gonna take a break.
Oof.
I don't know when I'll be back. I'll be back, but I don't know when.
Oh, you don't know when you'll be back. Let me find out. Prison sentence for recording bathroom. Be back in about 5 years. So, all right, well, that settles that.
See you somewhere down the road.
They'll have 5 years, up to 5 years to think about this. Maybe by the end of it, they can come out and be a better person. But I guess we'll find out. So we had a pretty interesting thing happen. This entire event has massively popped off. So Stop Killing Games has reached 1 million. 1 million.
Okay, this one's going to be fun. So, the Stop Killing Games initiative is almost over, and the last time we covered it, the European Citizens Initiative, which is the part of it that matters the most, had just opened. And as of right now, you've got just days to join it, meaning that this is your last chance to make your voice heard and hopefully prevent the games that you buy from being destroyed.
That's right.
But here's the thing, until last week, it really did seem
Kinda dead.
rather doomed.
Yeah.
They needed hundreds.
People lost interest.
Hundreds, over 500,000 more signatures. But, hell, right now, it's gaining thousands an hour. The reason why is quite funny. So
It crossed 1 million. They have reached the goal, and they are even going beyond that even farther. What is it at right now?
Happened. They need to hit 1 million signatures, but after months of scrolling, they only have 450. But then, over the horizon, a savior came.
They're past 1.1. They're
Savior.
1.13.
Pirate software. And that's because his opposition, plus a few pinches of World of Warcraft, drama that is now circulating to the tune of over 240,000 in just 7 days. So,
That's right.
time to get you up to speed. It all began last year when the darlings at Ubisoft shut down the crew. Now, they didn't just shut down the online features, they shut down
They made the
everything.
game, yeah, you
because
couldn't
as
even play
turns
it.
out, single player required the online component. That basically meant that your copy of the crew was, no longer a thing that you could really do anything with.
Yep.
So, Ross, first and foremost, was no fan of this, so he started the movement. Now, you may know Ross from things like Freeman's Mind,
Yep.
Game News, and his plan, right, was to use the law.
Ross has been an advocate for gamer rights and other types of consumer protections for electronic media for a long period of time. This isn't, it's not like this is his first rodeo and it's his first time talking about this. He's been an advocate for this for quite a while.
Not change actually change things here. And it certainly seems that now, a year on, he actually may succeed in a way. So basically,
yes.
right, Ross believes that consumers want a product of games like The Crew, and that product was then taken
They do.
From Ubisofts' perspective, it's rather different. They argue that they sold a license to a live service. A service that they could simply end whenever they wanted. So put simply, what this movement aims to do is to address this grey area so that at the very least, people would get...
I don't think that companies should be allowed to repackage sales as licenses rather than products in order to just take consumer rights away from the user. I think that's bullshit. How does that help anybody? How is that in any way in the benefit of the actual customer or the population? Yeah, it's not right. Yeah, it's bullshit.
Formal clarity on what they were actually buying. Best case scenario would involve something teeth. Now, this was all multi-pronged. There was a UK campaign that hit problems early on.
Stayed from the start.
Existing laws already covered
Very
the issue.
true.
As for the US, well, basically, it was never an option because of already settled law. And because of this, stuff looked grim. But last summer, another path opened. And that path was the EU Citizens Initiative. So, this lets EU citizens propose legislative agendas. And this proposal was very simple. Stop destroying video games. And
Imagine
what it requires certainly does sound simple. It's that any game sold in the future would have to prepare for the eventuality and possibility of server shutdowns, that they would need to remain in a functional, playable state. Now, this could be through, say, single-player access, maybe through...
Or they got to give people their money. Like, I think that if you revoke service from somebody and you take somebody's service away, you have to give them money back. Like, you can take them off of your official servers, maybe, but, like, to just take their entire account back, because, like, again, it's just not fair. There's not really a balance of power between, like, the user or a, you know, what do you call it? The user and the seller.
Peer connections,
It's
opening
completely
up, right,
distorted.
server stuff. You get the point, right? Actually, is that at this point, the implementation details are actually not required. The way this works is that if it is successful, the EU then has 6 months to respond. Yes,
Yep.
then they will that would guide EU activity.
So at
but
least
it would
moves
not
things in that
instantly mean
direction.
a whole bunch of new super hasty laws. But no mistake, it would actually matter. And that's because EU
Well, it would
policy-
get the ball rolling. It would not just like immediately, oh, we get the petition to 1 million signatures and then everything solves itself. No, it will take time for this to happen, but it at least begins that timeline. It starts the timeline.
has got global impact. I mean, it's pretty obvious now. Just look at Apple.
As a
and
dev,
Google.
I disagree with this. This all falls flat on intellectual property. I understand that, and I know that a lot of developers feel that way, but the way that you imagine intellectual property, I don't think is in the best interest of the customer. And I think that if you have a business transaction that's fundamentally not in the best interest of the customer, and it's predatory, problematic, or unfair in nature, then I think the government needs to come in and regulate it to make sure that the customer is being represented and treated in a fair way. So I understand that, basically, I don't agree with the current, I think, intellectual property law and the amount of ways that a person can exercise intellectual property law right now. I think that it's too overreaching. It's way too overreaching, and it's not fair for an average person.
For one example. Now, for this, all that's needed is...
Or just don't buy it? No, I don't agree with that at all. I think that whenever, and the problem is that just don't buy it doesn't work when every other company inside of a market does the same thing and adopts the same principle. So that's called a cartel, right? Like you have price fixing and all of these other things that are against the law. Like, just stop buying something is nice to say, sure, but you're not existing. Like, there's a lot of people that have an illusion of a free market, but most markets are actually not very free at all. Just don't buy it. And also, by the way, just don't sell it. Like, if you can say just don't buy it as like a throwaway line, then I feel like I can say just don't sell it as a throwaway line too, right? Well, if you don't like the law, then don't make it. So, you're at an impasse.
Being passed in at least 7 EU countries, which basically just exists. So, I don't know. If the French all get together and want something that nobody else wants, and only one country passes, then hey, the EU's safe. Anyway, you get the point. That is the challenge. Those are the stakes. Here's what happens. In the requirements, the regional thresholds do seem to be quite manageable, right?
Yeah.
Now, the 1 million signatures is...
That's a lot. And it happened. And it fucking happened. That's what's crazy.
International campaign. One that's actually centered on citizens. Leading it. Well, an English-speaking YouTuber with a cult following, which...
Asman loves authoritarianism, as he was saying earlier. You see, you view it as authoritarianism. I view it as freedom from authoritarianism. Because, in my opinion, authoritarianism, what makes authoritarianism so scary is whenever it's tyrannical without the ability for the public to be able to have a recourse against it. So, for example, if you don't like the president or you don't like a representative in your country, or at least in the United States, you can vote to have that person removed. But the problem is that whenever you're having this with a company, you can't necessarily vote to have a company be removed. And when a company establishes a monopoly in a certain market, like for example Visa and MasterCard do in terms of payment processors, and then they apply their laws and their rules arbitrarily, or like the recent case with Epic and Fortnite and selling on the Apple Play Store, I think that you run into a big issue of authoritarianism with no accountability. Because authoritarianism is being exercised right now but the people that have the authority are not accountable to the public. And that's what the real problem is. So the actual argument that I'm making here is not in favor of authoritarianism, it's actually against it. Because I want authoritarianism that is accountable to the public rather than authoritarianism that's accountable to shareholders.
I'm positive, just to be clear. But basically, it's not a huge number of people. Now, this story obviously did cut through. Loads of people covered it, us included. The early momentum was really strong, until it wasn't. Now, this is because something
The sustainable of capitalism, why are you discovering this now? Capitalism is one of the greatest things, and it's the best social and economic system in the entire world. And every country that doesn't adopt capitalism is a awful third world shithole that you would never want to live in. And even countries like China are adopting capitalism in multiple other ways, and you are naive to think otherwise. Capitalism has brought an untold and unfathomable amount of wealth to the entire world, and it is the premise of the entire identity of Western civilization. So if you don't like capitalism, go move to a shithole without it. But you won't. Because you know capitalism is a good thing. As with anything, if you drink too much water, you'll drown. Is water bad? No, it's not. Anything can be overdone.
Newsletter that was tanked by that company having no else. Even Heineken, yes, Heineken, the beer people, wanted to include the campaign in their marketing, but only after the petition ended. But there is another one, and I think I know it's the one you want me to talk about. Yes, the pirate.
Oh.
Okay, TLDR. Pirate Software opposed the initiative. So what I'll do here is boil down what I essentially think is the best case, or like the best faith version of his argument, which is essentially that in very many cases, over-regulation often actually helps the incumbents. In this case, it would help AAA companies. The reason
this is true. That wasn't the argument I think Pirate Software was making, but it's true that oftentimes a lot of companies that are very big argue and advocate for higher degrees of regulation that have additional costs in order to pull the ladder up to make it difficult to have emerging companies make it into the market. This is very common. It's like, for example, like think of it in World of Warcraft, whenever you get to item level like 600, and then you make it to where after that, the only people that can join your raid are also item level 600. Well, that's what happens, basically.
The only companies with the resources to actually overcome the regulations. That is actually a fair enough, reasonable argument. But I think in practice, it's fair to say that Pirate Software in his videos was not really steel manning his opposition. There were some errors. It wasn't really a great situation. But really in this story, there's a key thing to remember. The initial, I'll say drama, let's just say hot public disagreement, that would happened when, let's just say, his internet stocks were in a slightly different and altogether more healthy place.
It did.
Since then, he was involved in a major World of Warcraft drama, which I will cover shortly. I don't like to...
Please stop applying the gas. You could back up.
There's nobody in your way, it's just you. Why are you honking?
Stop applying gas. Hit reverse. You dumb fuck. I'm trying to pull him out of the car, but this isn't Grand Theft Auto, Joe.
Oh. Maybe shoot him?
Put him out of his misery?
Yeah.
Not only with a bunch of bad popping in the background, but with broken AI. Shit, I've never seen this happen. I think that one's broken.
That's the me and the crew.
That's the you and the crew. God damn it. Somebody get out of here. We got a malfunctioning robot. Whatever, so I started to play the game and... As I was saying, the combat is horrible. Wait a minute.
How did you abandon
It's
it?
right next to it. I'm right next to it.
Get into your car. That's not your car. You failed.
That
You
happens all the
failed.
time in this game, Joe. It's hilarious. Everything you do in this game results in a failure. If you barely do something off the beaten path, instant failure.
Go with it.
Coordinate immediately. Sounds like we got a plan.
Fail.
Joe, stop checking your goddamn bills and your
I knew it! I fucking knew it!
you can't go over there. If you think about going left, failure.
You know what? You're boring me, Marco. You're fine.
Come on! She's so fucking fast! I was trying to go left, Hobo.
If you think about going right, failure.
Bro,
If you breathe wrong, failure. Failure. Go too fast.
Hey, buddy, slow down.
He told me to slow down.
What is happening? What did Joe do wrong there? I don't even know.
I was going too fast.
Go too slow.
Further drones are incoming.
yeah.
See you.
If you shoot the bottles, failure.
Take command.
Go ahead, Joe. Take
Hit
command.
my private number.
This
Get in
is
there and look around.
some premium quality shooter gameplay. You'll see almost instantly how awesome the gunplay is. Really feel immersed.
They were shooting. I wanted to join. But I wanted to join the fun.
No! You cannot shoot the bottles!
But they were shooting the
You
bottles.
cannot look left! You cannot walk right!
And look around.
Literally anything you do is wrong if you touch the fucking controller!
Your usual spot. Okay. Thanks, Lord.
I'm done. That's you.
If you succeed in your mission, failure! Good God!
You don't get to talk to anyone about it.
Great work, team. Mission
But
success.
you never want to anyway.
What the? What the fuck? There is nothing I hate more than restrictive mission failure states if you do anything or explore anything other than what the game tells you to do. And this game is the absolute king of them. And yes, I'm gonna be showing you way too many fucking clips, a ton of them, because you need to see exactly how bad this gets. First off, this is one of the most poorly optimized games I have played. I felt like my PC was going to explode at times. Damn, these shaders are taking fucking forever. What the fuck? It's poorly put together, poorly programmed. The combat sucks. The enemy variety sucks. The NPC variety sucks. Hey, what's up? Oh, you You got some thickness, girl.
So you like it here with these
What the fuck? What is wrong with your hand? Are you drinking something? Your soda's back there. What's wrong with you?
Over here, man.
I had the same bitch walk past me 3 times every 20 steps I took.
Oh, the cop box? I mean, sure. Why not? He's the reason I came here.
The same bitch already walked past me 3 times. It is the same bitch that walked past me. That's not a good sign. We just started the game. Unless she's running and then run around the whole circumference, comes back around just to take another look at me. Everything sucks.
Stuck here
I
forever.
met the mayor. She doesn't seem like the benevolent type.
What the fuck is that?
It's my understanding that Mayor Vega does not allow any business to happen here which doesn't profit her
What's
personally.
there?
In that case, let's maybe not tell her about the mind's eye.
No one's ever gonna hit this invisible rock.
Wanted to take
Are you sure? Positive.
Not sure honored if the word.
Perhaps you should give it a name. One that is fitting as an extension of your persona.
You're joking.
I'll give it some thought.
Gonna go around the rock. You can reverse into it?
What? What is happening? Why is this happening to me?
Nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense anymore.
Super technology. If you do something good, the game just cheats and breaks to fuck it up. It's bulletproof all of a sudden.
I don't know what's going on. I'm just chasing the truck. I don't want to fail.
Can't you use that air system to help me out here?
Infiltrations.
What
Even hack the
the
CIA,
fuck?
it leaves no footprint ever. Other than the occasional.
Boom! You did it!
You fucking cheater!
I love it. I knew Joe would be the key to the game. And it's filled with pointless padding that I haven't seen to this level since the early 2000s.
I'll have to spend some time studying this data. In the meantime, please return to my office.
No.
Can't you just call me? We're on the phone right now. We're on the phone. Just tell me.
Drive all of the way there for another goddamn shitty cutscene.
Like, he could have just done this test in his lab.
The gunplay sucks. Gunfire look like paintball guns.
Well, it ain't popcorn. They think I blew up Little John's trailer.
Popcorn! Outriders.
Outriders.
That.
Why are the bullets so slow?
You're killing. It's me, Marco.
How is he shooting? No,
What?
the bullets aren't even.
The bullets weren't hitting you. Why do they show tracer fire if the tracer fire is nowhere near the actual bullets? Why does it look like this?
Oh, fuck!
You dodged every single bullet there. Except for not the others. Half the time, the bullets don't even go in the direction their gun is fucking pointing. No one gives a shit if you run over people.
A fucking trash can! No shortcut here.
Random people just fall from the sky for no reason. What the fuck? Did that man just fucking spawn in and fall from the sky? What is that? What the fuck? There's no fucking animation for getting into vehicles on the other side or getting out if you're blocked. The vehicles have no weight to them and go flying at the slightest bump. The floatiness of the cars are good for one thing, and one thing only. OJ barrel rolls.
What do you got for me? Things got heated with Claudia. I'm currently in pursuit.
Yes! Finally, we catch a break. Do not let that bitch get away.
I won't.
Because the car.
You were pointing up top. You're like, what's this over here? You're like, look at that corner. I'm trying to try.
Don't blame that on me because your car weighs 7 pounds. I didn't program your car to weigh 7 pounds. Here's how fucking cars work, apparently. And the elevators don't even have fucking buttons in them. Man, what kind of elevator ain't got no fucking buttons on it, dude? Dude, I'll be fucking freaked out. Hell no. It has such a bad pop-in in every scene it loads that sometimes characters won't even load in at all.
Hold on, Marco. Hold on. Larson! Let us in!
What the hell is he doing here?
He's been shot, Hunter. He needs medical attention.
Bet he had it coming.
It was Lamry. Gosh!
Hassan has slandered me, committed some defamation in response to my reaction to what was going on with Twitch and the situation with Twitch. So today I'm going to respond to that publicly, clear up some of that misinformation, and also talk about some hot water that Hassan may be in legally in the state of California. Of course, I'm Andrew Esquire, American attorney, and this is the Legal Minds that we teach you to be your own judge. So typically my policy overall with defamation, with people that engage in defamation, is just to ignore it, is to pass it by, is to really pay it no mind, particularly if they're smaller channels and smaller people, really to ignore that at large. However, when a channel of 1.7 million people spreads false information about yourself, clearly not having watched a single one of my videos or really knowing much about me, it seems, other than what the most deranged antis might try to cook up, there is some need to respond to that. And also, there is a need to bring up some very real legal trouble that Mr. Piker may be in regarding California, especially as some individuals look to come against him. So first of all, we're going to start by reviewing the defamation itself, and this does come in the form of a video which I have right here for you guys. And this is Hassan kind of responding to his chat and talking about me and why he's not going to review my videos. And I just want to start out by saying I love the fact that you're going to see immediately how he jumps to ad hominem, because ad hominem, or personal attacks, when used as a debate strategy or when used to rebuke someone, actually represent a concession. That actually means you are incapable of making a legal argument or an objective argument or an informed argument or in any sort of educational argument. You're simply trying to discredit someone personally to get around the fact you lack the capacity to actually argue. And so I actually don't take offense to that. I'm very used to it, having been on the internet for years now. So we'll get into this video and the thoughts by Mr. Piker.
Dude, there's something so funny about people being like, dog, have you seen the Legal Mindset video about you? Dude, if I were to cover every Rumble lawyer, fake lawyer, that it actually is.
So let's stop right there. Okay, so Rumble Lawyer is very interesting, and I think he may mention Rumble again. While I do have, I guess, still a Rumble account, I haven't uploaded it to years. I don't stream on Rumble. I only stream on YouTube, primarily as a major platform. I've tried the others. I don't like them. Rumble, just as a comment, initially offered a very good package contractually to stream on their platform, good advertising packages. That fell off way back towards the COVID days. So yeah, that's kind of a weird thing. Now, fake lawyer is interesting, and I want to throw out here that that's possibly the most defamatory thing. Now, I want to give Mr. Piker some credit here because perhaps he knows nothing about me or knows nothing about the law. Well, clearly he knows nothing about the law or what words mean. A lawyer is anybody with a law degree, whether or not they're licensed and practice law. So anybody who's gone to law school is indeed a lawyer. Now, attorney is someone above lawyer. You could say that word is perhaps not interchangeable, but similarly related insofar as they are not only a lawyer, not only do they have a law degree, but an attorney has to be licensed to practice in their state. I'm licensed to practice in the state of Florida. So I am both a lawyer and an attorney above that. So thinking about that logically as a little bit of education, all attorneys are lawyers, but not all lawyers are attorneys. So there you go, Mr. Piker, that's the language. So that statement is indeed false, right? That I am a quote-unquote fake lawyer because I indeed possess a law degree from the University of Florida. So that statement in the future would be defamatory. And with Mr. Piker, we do have to remember, and with myself and other figures, is that we are all public figures. So we follow the New York Times versus Sullivan standard. We have a higher standard for defamation than the normal private individual. So now that that's been clarified publicly for Mr. Piker, and that he will well know that that information is false and defamatory, to continue to do so would perhaps incur liability on the part of Mr. Piker. But let's continue to see what he has to say about me. This is fun.
Like a fucking right-wing freak that spends most of their time talking about like trans people.
So that's very interesting. So I will say this. Most of my time talking about trans people, the issues I have been covering lately have been the Ethan Klein lawsuit, have been Johnny Somali, have been Vitali. Now, unless you are counting something with Somali or Vitali as a trans issue, which I would struggle to understand how that would fit in, then yeah, that's not at all what my content has been about for the past years. So very interesting thing. Also, I keep politics out of my streams, and it's particularly over the last year, 6 months, definitely last 6 months and a year, I have endeavored to keep my streams as objective and educational and make it a environment where everybody is welcome. Even people who like Hassan Piker are welcome in my chat, so long as they are civil, so long as they keep the conversation from violating the terms of service of the platform, because I indeed do care about abiding by the terms of service of the platform. That is, you are welcome in my chat, whether you're right, left, center, whether you're apolitical, whether you don't care about politics, it doesn't matter at all to me. I care about the law and educating people on the law. That's the core of my channel. So let's continue.
I would lose my mind. I would have no time to cover anything else. I get it. A lot of you are drama perverts, okay? And you nut when you think about the prospect of drama. But I'm not.
I will say, I actually do not like drama. And in fact, on my channel, I try to avoid drama. In fact, even in carrying out my behaviors, I try to make sure that I am focusing more on the legal aspects of things rather than the dramatic elements, the interpersonal problems, the stuff that people did. I try to focus on the legal elements of a story. Now, sometimes to get to the legal elements, you have to give background, you have to give context, because things don't make sense in context, without context. However, yes, I would agree with Hassan that I don't like drama, but what Hassan tends to define as drama is anything that disagrees with the things he's doing. So by somebody saying what you are doing is objectively risking lawsuits, it's objectively wrong, or for example saying that, hey, your orbiters, Denims and Frogan, they're going to lose under copyright infringement, here's the explanation of the law. Apparently that's drama, to objectively educate people on the law. That's a new definition of drama to me, and I don't know what you guys think, Chad.
Going to pay any mind or any attention to some fucking psychotic MAGA lawyer, not a real lawyer, but a passport bro.
And it's interesting, and MAGA, of course, don't bring up politics. That I've never talked about that at all recently at all. But beyond that, passport bro is interesting because the definition of a passport bro is typically someone that would visit a location for a short period purely for sexual purposes. And for anybody who knows anything about me, I'm a long-term resident of several countries in Asia. I've been a resident of the Republic of South Korea, the Kingdom of Thailand, the Philippines, and Japan. These are all wonderful, amazing countries, and I do help people obtain legal visas and legal residence long-term in these countries because they appreciate the culture, the lifestyle, the quality of life, the peace, the safety, the tranquility. These are amazing things about living in Asia. And another amazing thing is that, unlike America, and this may be surprising to Hassan, it is not as easy to get away with being an illegal migrant to these countries. So if you try to illegally migrate to Japan or Korea, very good luck to you, sir, because likely you will end up in the cell next to Johnny Somali, aka Ramzi Khalid Ismail, if you try that in Korea. It's not gonna go well for you. So I would insist that perhaps the only person that perhaps between the two of us would be a passport bro is the individual who visited Berlin solely for the purpose of going to a brothel. But that's neither here nor there. Let's go.
Who offers fucking courses on becoming a passport bro, who primarily fucking streams on Rumble.
Neither one of those things are true. I do not have a single course on becoming a passport bro, and I do not primarily stream on Rumble. I only stream on YouTube. So, yeah, there we go.
Why do you guys come in here and ask for this stuff? It's never gonna happen.
And that's the great point. I'm gonna leave it right there. It's never going to happen because Hassan lacks the capacity to actually address real issues and to actually respond to legal or objective arguments because he's incapable of doing that. Not only because he's not a lawyer, even a non-lawyer can make an argument, can make a policy position, can say this should be this way for XYZ, but because he needs to discredit others by ad hominem in order to try to win an intellectual argument. And frankly, that's at the lowest level of argumentation. But one thing he really can't argue with is the law. And in fact, there's a California law, which was pointed out by a California lawyer friend of mine, where that shows that he may have violated this statute, 653.2. involving electronic cyber harassment. So this is the statute which reads every person who with the intent to place another in reasonable fear of his safety. So if you have the intention to scare somebody else, to place them in fear of their safety or the safety of that person's family by means of an electronic communication device, a computer or a cell phone, and without the consent of the other person, and for the purpose of imminently causing that other person unwanted physical contact, injury, or harassment by a third party, electronically distributes, publishes, emails, hyperlinks, or makes available for download personal identifying information, including but limited to a digital image of that other person or an electronic message of a harassing nature about that other person, which would be likely to incite or produce that unlawful action. So he put out that photo and he engaged in those actions with the intent to instill fear in that other individual. So that individual could look into contacting California law enforcement, could look into that pertaining to Hassan and take action thereby. Very interesting and something for him to worry about, but of course only if he addresses the real issues. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll catch you on the next one.
Well, I mean, that's all good news, but it hasn't all been good news this week, especially not if your name's Neil Druckmann. So, much to our dismay and sadness, Neil Druckmann has stepped down as showrunner for The Last of Us for Season 3. And I have a little quote here from him. says, I made the difficult decision, I don't think you made that decision, Neil, to step away from my creative involvement in The Last of Us on HBO, with work completed on Season 2, what a banger of a season it was, Neil, and before any meaningful work starts on Season 3, so that they can try and unfuck what I've done, now is the right time for me to transition my complete focus to Naughty Dog and its future projects, including writing and directing our exciting new game, The Intergalactic Heretic Space Program Margin, along with my responsibilities as studio head and head of creative, and dickhead. So, yeah, what a sad thing. I mean, I'm sure it was entirely Neil's decision, and he wasn't asked to leave by HBO, so that they could try and undo all of his work.
I mean, you know, it's all speculation, but it just seems like, really, Neil? Because especially with some of the work that he does, you sometimes get the impression with a man like him, especially with things he said, that it's like, oh, TV was an upgrade from games. It gets to be in a prestigious and respected format now. And then, you know, the first season comes out, does pretty well. It's like, let's go. And then the second one comes out, and someone's head had to roll for that, right? Like, yep, they absolutely did.
Yeah, will totally be good. That'll get them back on track.
Yeah, they're so
fun. This season.
I'll be interested to see what they do in terms of trying to put this right. Like, can you pull this back somehow?
The first season probably always gets well because it does follow the beats of the first game, which did exceedingly well itself. They did some creative license stuff to try and win some awards, and it worked because that's the way that they attempted that. But season 2 was always going to be the season that where everybody was going to look at in terms of, are they going to follow the beats of the second game that failed miserably? Are they going to try and repair some of the damage, keep Joel on for a lot longer, and then let Joel take over? I think the Asian guy, the sperm though, you know,
oh god, I can't remember him either. How was he?
Asian guy was efficient.
Token Asian.
Why can I not remember? Jesse. That was the new starting with a J.
Yeah, it just gets shot in the face. You know,
but you knew everyone was going to check out after Joel was taken out. Like the same thing was going to happen. You're going to alienate everyone that loved him. So what were they going to do? Did they really think they were going to maintain?
Bella Ramsey.
Yeah.
You know, this fucking anomaly of humankind.
In breach of the Geneva Convention, of course, Drinker forced me to watch the entire season, and it was remarkable how they managed to
apologize for nothing.
They managed to keep all of the worst, horrible shit from the game and then add a bit of their own. It was just like, wow, you guys are impressive.
Yeah.
Season 3 is going to be Abby left. That's going to be the because we know it's the second half of the game where Cuthbert thought he was going to be an absolute living legend. And by the end of the game, everyone's going to go, oh my god, Neil.
You're such a dick.
I thought I was going to hate Abby, but by the end of she's the best. No time. Fuck that cow, why is she dead?
I know. I think I know how to fix this. I would straight up make Abby the hero and turn Ellie into a villain because she essentially is already. And just have Abby actually kill her in the end.
It was signed with by the end of season 3 as the zombies.
Yeah.
It's kind of rough, you know, they deserve to have their chance.
The amount of
there would actually be higher ratings if they brought back the two gay guys from romance from episode 3 of
probably
first
would
season.
Just make out together and die again.
I'm surprised they're justifying the expense for a third season, given that they know most people checked out.
This would be absolute insanity in any other context. The fact that if you remove any knowledge of The Last of Us as an IP, and then you see this run out as a TV show, it's just being like in season 2, they're killing the most interesting character, they're turning the second most interesting character into a complete piece of shit asshole, and then the whole story's fucked. Like, by the third season, nobody you even care about is left, and the whole thing is about some person. It's like, what psychotic decisions are these?
It's not like Game of Thrones, you know, with Sean Bean.
There is somebody that can save this show. There is somebody that can save this show. Season 3, Abby's like, I'm gonna go do all the things, and then this hero steps in front of her, pushes her to one side, and says, I Fat Geralt. And it's just seasonal Fat Geralt going around massacring
slamming people into garage doors.
Yeah. Punching
That's his
fucking
signature
little
move. You
kids.
gotta sparingly use that, okay? That's like a season finale and half-season, mid-season finale sort of thing. Gotta build up to it.
The thing is, right, I know they'll never do him justice, and like, because they know he's like this like super popular meme that everyone kind of loves, and so if they put him in the show, everyone will be rooting for him. Of course they will. It's Fat Geralt. He looks awesome. Yeah, there's a good point here. When is the show
Well, it never happens without a bit of like, wait, what happened? And they're like, everything is fine. I left of my own accord. I see.
I have a video game to make that's totally not going to flop also because I'm going to make the same mistakes.
The thing is, right, I get the impression at a company like Naughty Dog, Neil Druckmann is essentially treated like a god. You know, like everyone's either in awe of him or terrified of him, and so like everything he says will be taken as gospel. Every decision will be implemented. Nothing will ever be questioned, and there's really no repercussions for any mistakes or failures or whatever. Even the backlash to Last of Us Part 2, the game, would probably just be hand waved away as like, oh, it's just bigots and haters and stuff. We don't have to care about what they say because we're on the right side. Yeah, but when you get into the world of network TV, it's a bit of a different ballgame with results. And if the show absolutely tanks in season 2, the ratings are down and everyone fucking hates it, you're going to be held accountable because you don't have that political capital in the TV business that you have in the video game business. And there you go, as you said, Moore, Edge were going to have to roll for this. Someone was going to have to be the scapegoat, and of course it's going to be him.
They had to be crashing down the fucking staircase with this one because it's like, oh man, what did you guys do for season 2? And then they broadly explain it to the bean counter people or the suits in the boardroom, and they'd be like, that sounds awful. Why would you do that? And it's like, oh, we did it in the game. It's like, oh, and how was that received? Awful.
I don't think that's relevant. We didn't talk about that.
Yeah. Just don't worry about it.
Different market, man.
Is it possible they do a super stripped down third season with Abby and try to make her likable and save on budget? Because how the hell are they justifying these expenses? I don't get it. They're poor over there right now.
Yeah, you could save money just by having her walk through like deserted fucking streets and stuff. Yeah, forest. Or just like underground parking lots and stuff. Like, stuff that doesn't need much set dressing. Is there going to be any zombies? Just don't worry
I'm
about
not
that.
too familiar with this IP, so what's the deal with the baby that Ellie was going to be the dad?
Oh, nothing really happens with the baby. It's quite, in the game it's even funnier.
Yeah.
Because Dana, isn't it? Dana.
Yeah.
They go through all of these shenanigans with the zombies, and Ellie gets bit right in front of her. And instead of Dana going, "Oh my God, how have you not turned, or are you going to turn, or anything like that," she just goes, "By the way, I'm pregnant. I'm just going to sit on this sofa for 20 hours of the game now."
I thought you were saying this.
And then it's like, well, then it's like, let's fuck.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's in the TV show. Sorry.
That was
Well,
gross.
on my stream, we went through a thing of trying to rank the all-time bangers, and our first line of dialogue was, I think it was something a male presenting Time Lord will never understand.
Doctor Who.
Then we had Get Away From Her, You Bitch, Alien Romulus. And then we had Be Careful to Keep Your Feet Beneath You. It's a long way to the bottom if you walk on water from Rings of Power. And then we decided we slotted this one in at 4. That's our rank.
I don't know how the fuck you rank those.
It was iconic.
They're all champions in my eyes.
Yeah, they all deserve recognition. Yeah, when I said it was funny, I thought you were talking about what happens next, right? Like, that they go back to the field, the house next to the fields or whatever. You got Tommy is just ruined and depressed, Ellie's depressed, Dina and them are raising that baby, then Ellie's like, right, I'm gonna go on my revenge quest. She's like, if you do, I'll leave you. And she's like, okay.
Bye then.
Then goes and does it, gets her
Dumb dad
fingers
she
bitten
is.
off, and then she's like, comes back, she's like, I'm alone. Okay, well, there we go. It's like,
She comes back and she can't play guitar anymore. Oh, I've had my fingers bitten off. I can't play my guitar. Oh.
It would be safe to describe that whole sequence as the, what, 7th act in that game? Where you just, just die. Like, it's just so annoying.
12.
I described that game as a misery simulator, and I stand by that description. It's just horrible misery porn.
You fucking made me play, you twat.
I'm noticing a theme.
I did, yeah. And again, and for that, I don't apologize.
You rushed to beat it in time for the stream, and you beat it like at the last second.
I think like what?
We were going live.
38 minutes. Yeah.
Full PTSD and still.
We were going live that night, right? And Az was messaging me like, I'm at this point, right? How much fucking further is it till the end? I'm like, stay strong, buddy. You'll get there.
Stay strong.
To say it is an unfair and deceptive practice to benefit some people while punishing others. Because this bias, for example, Hassan bias, is not disclosed anywhere. It's not given out in the terms of service. When you read the terms of service, nowhere does it say everyone will be punished except for Hassan Piker. Everyone will be banned except for Hassan Piker.
Yesterday, Hassan goes live and waves a gun around at his viewer, threatens to end his life, and then doxes them. But he doxes the wrong person and then doxes another person. By the way, all of this is incredibly against TOS, but how is it against the law? Well, thankfully, we have a lawyer to weigh in on this. God, he's so handsome. Hey, man.
Twitch has a brand new Hassan problem, and this one could have huge
daily Hassan problem, man. It's great.
Repercussions, both legal and non-legal. We're going to get into that today.
Okay.
Of course, on the legal mindset, we teach you to be your own judge. I'm Andrew Esquire, American attorney.
I highly recommend everybody watching this video right now go subscribe to Legal Mindset and support the original channel as well. I just like getting informed on everything, and obviously, pretty soon I'm going to be getting very involved with the law. And I want to make sure that I am ready to dissect my enemies.
Attorney, and I'm bringing you this Fast Facts premiere, a quick and dirty version, while I'm once again on a short vacation in lovely Phuket, Thailand. So another hotel room, another place, but still bringing you the freshest news. So make sure you like this video if you like the Fast Facts versions. So let's get right into it. Twitch has always taken a preferential stance when it comes to enforcing its guidelines, or at least it, when looking at its terms of service, has not always applied those equally to all groups and people. And
that is crazy how a lawyer would also acknowledge that. And that makes me feel very vindicated and validated in my stance, where I think more and more with every passing day, people understand that I'm like a fucking martyr for this platform, and I've been punished wrongly over and over and over again. And I will not stop until Dan Clancy gets on his fucking hands and knees and sings me happy birthday, just like he did for Hassan. Dan, you have 5 months, buddy. It's coming up. I'm turning 32. I expect my happy birthday. I do.
One of the people that gets the most criticism for this, and that many folks across the board have said is the really recipient of a lot of the benefit of the terms of service without the burden of punishment, has been one Hassan Piker.
Hassan Piker.
Today, there was an absolutely extreme incident which really points out the problem for Twitch in having this unequal enforcement involving Hassan, and how this can happen. Very key here. Yep. Wrong. What appears to be a weapon. So
this also makes me feel quite good. I had the exact same take prior to this.
Let's take a look.
Because it doesn't matter if it wasn't a real gun, if everybody believed it to be a real gun. It's the same thing for an IRL altercation with a police officer. If you were to pull out your wallet too goddamn fast and make a police feel threatened by, here's my ID, sir, you're getting shot. You are. And if you're carrying around a fucking gun and people believe that it's a gun, people's lives are going to be threatened, and you cannot be shocked by the consequences of your own actions.
Look at the video, and of course this is video that I found over on X, which highlights this incident. So we'll take this clip here and give some commentary as we go.
It's time to crusade Iran and Gaza. Mamdani communists. Let's go to war against the left.
So so to give you some background here, it appears there there's a chatter in his chat who is made a bunch of comments.
What's really crazy about this is that Hassan takes big offense to when this guy says right here, hang Hassan for treason. For some reason, when terrorist companies and terrorist organizations say death to America, he's all W's in chat. He's all, yeah, dude, when these guys say fuck America. Hassan, you're American. They're saying death to you, and you're cheering for it. So why is it okay if people make a threat on your life, if it's a terrorist organization? But then if someone calls for your hanging, that's a part of your chat, well, now you have a problem. Doesn't really make much sense now, does it?
Obviously, these are comments that are not fitting with the vibe in the crowd of Hassan's chat. Obviously, for any of this, he would have the ability to block and or ban this person. Of course, every single content creator retains the right to ban people out of their chat for whatever reason.
Yeah, just like Ludwig bans people for typing W-Tecto. Everybody withholds that right to ban people for what they want to ban for.
Permissive, some people are more restrictive. That's really up to the creators on their platform. If they choose to ban people for anything, that's up to them. Here today, if this was just a block, once again, I think there was plenty of grounds for him as a creator saying, hey, I don't want this person here. And some of this language was even pretty extreme, saying hang Hassan for treason. Yeah, that's...
Which, by the way, I would like to say, you shouldn't go into somebody's chat and say that. You just shouldn't. But the only thing that I'm just confused about is Hassan has issues with getting death threats like every other content creator does on this fucking planet, but I don't understand why he doesn't have issues with terrorist organizations calling for the death of all Americans when he's a fucking American, right? It just doesn't make any sense in my mind.
That's pretty extreme, and you know what?
Because, guys, I'm gonna give a hot take. I think they're both bad.
Blocking and banning someone for that would be called for. If someone came into my chat or anybody else's chat and said that about that creator, yeah, they would probably catch a ban. They would probably catch a block and a ban. And possibly a report, a broader report.
He only identifies as American when it's convenient for him? True.
Here is not proportional nor appropriate to these comments. Let's play this.
In our sincerity and actually delivering for the very working people.
So let's be clear. He's gone and retrieved what appears to be a pistol. Now, many people have pointed out it could be airsoft or it is airsoft or whatever else. The key here is that it appears to be a real weapon. I'll also note as someone who played airsoft for like 8-9 years as a kid, I had MP5s, I had pistols, I had a sniper rifle, and an airsoft sniper rifle. You're supposed to have an orange tip or a marker on the end of an airsoft. That would be not a typical airsoft tip.
Yeah, there was actually a whole bunch of shit of people getting shot. This was like maybe 10, 12 years ago. People were taking their airsoft guns and they were painting over their orange circles black to make it appear like a real gun, and I believe that's highly illegal to do. You know what? Better yet, let me Google that. Great. At least I'm glad to know. So in the United States, removing the orange from an airsoft gun after purchase is generally not illegal. Federal law requires toy guns look alike and imitation firearms to have the orange tip or other approved markings during manufacture, import, shipping, or entering commerce. State or local laws. Some states and municipalities may have stricter regulations regarding toy gun modifications. Even if legally permissible in your area, removing the orange tip can increase the risk of the toy gun being mistaken for a real firearm with potentially serious or even deadly consequences. This is especially true if the toy gun is brandished or displayed in public. There we go. That makes sense to me. It's not illegal, however, it can lead to you facing serious and deadly repercussions.
That marker or remove that orange tip, even though, of course, some people do that. Some people.
Let me double check in California. Hassan's place of residence. It is illegal to alter, remove, or obliterate the orange tip or any other markings on an imitation firearm, including airsoft guns, in a way that makes it look more like a real firearm. This includes painting over or removing the orange tip. Violations can result in misdemeanor charges with potential penalties like jail time. And this is why I love looking into the law.
It will make more realistic. But the key here, and this is a key that is not just in analyzing this for Twitch terms of service, but also broader for the law, is that you can make a physical threat. You can make a threat or try to intimidate somebody with even a fake weapon.
Absolutely.
With a fake knife, with a fake gun, with a fake bomb.
Yep.
If you were going to try to hijack a plane and you attempted that with a fake gun,
yep,
it would not be material in terms of your defense. You would not be able to say, oh, but, well, it was fake, so I couldn't do it all along. You know, when you get caught and arrested and thrown in jail.
Because the
you
intent.
don't get off because, oh, it was fake. No, you would lead a reasonable person to believe that was real.
Absolutely.
A reasonable person could have fear.
Yeah, the reasonable people on the internet, oh man, they were up in arms. The amount of people that are freaking the fuck out of this on Twitter, rightfully so, oh man, a lot of people were led to believe that's a real gun. And by the way, is anybody gonna think, yeah, Hassan Piker wouldn't own a real gun? And no, nobody's gonna fucking think that. This is one of the biggest bad actors on the entire platform. Are we really gonna be shocked? Or are we really gonna be like, well, maybe it's not real when the terrorist sympathizer starts threatening the lives of
that knife is not objectively real. So that's a defense a lot of people brought up, and I don't think that stands up. Let's continue.
Compared with President Trump, you know, the same period of time that I've been running has been tell him defeated.
Can we talk about how fucking gay this dude looks? Just for 2 seconds. I want you to while you're here, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new here. I really want you to just leave a number from 1 to 10. You don't got to say anything else. Everybody else is going to know. I want you to observe Hassan right now and just leave a 1 to 10 for how fucking gay this guy looks, trying to appear hard as fuck, waving around a gun, trying to intimidate a viewer's life.
Defense a lot of people brought up, and I don't think that
Let's observe.
Stands up. Let's continue.
1 to 10, guys. 1 to 10.
With what President Trump has been able to do, you know, over the same period of time that I've been running, has been. That's what it's going to look like again.
Okay, fair enough.
Once again, brandishing the weapon, flaring it around. Obviously, there's a point to this. Obviously, there's an individual that this is directed at. You know, this is something that's ambiguous in the
Today, I'll show you 3 ways you can use your.
So here's another crazy thing about the doxing. So now you've paired, so you've linked up brandishing a weapon. You've paired up brandishing a weapon with doxing, which is revealing their private information, which, by the way, in certain jurisdictions, in certain places in the world, is illegal.
Yep.
So you've done 2 things which are potentially illegal. There's the brandishing, the threats, the intimidation, and then you have the doxing. Right? So you've got 2 separate things you're not doing. Yeah. So that this is works.
Guy. You get F.
Do you know how lackadaisical? Do you know how psychotic, how sociopathic, how insane of a human being you have to be to so lackadaisically wave around a gun and threaten a viewer's life before, this is even before he can actually confirm that this is the right person. This is another demonstrably proven moment where Hassan is so aggressive. He has such a blatant disregard for the truth that he will pursue anything and everything in his destructive wake if he even thinks there's something in his opposition. He will go after anything, reckless or whether it's real or not, if he thinks it will make himself look better, if he thinks something poses a threat to him. It is, I don't know what else to call it besides absolutely psychotic. He is completely crazy. He is. There's nothing else to say. Someone this stupid is not only a harm to themselves, it's a harm to the platform, and it's a harm to everybody else who occupies the same space. And may God have mercy on Wilmot's soul.
This is clearly against the POS. That is not holistically both the doxing and the brandishing. This is a
Of course.
How is he not banned on Twitch? Guys, if I've told you once, I've told you 10,000 times. This is not a conspiracy. This is not me having a tinfoil hat. Okay? I am the proof. I am the glue that behind Twitch's streaming platform, there exists one thing. And that one thing is an agenda. Twitch is not banning Hassan because they agree with Hassan. And they are banning me because I am going against that very same agenda. You can say, oh, hallucinating things. Guys, I got banned for 2 weeks for calling Krogan fat. Hassan pulls a gun on a viewer, threatens their life, and then doxes 2 viewers. He didn't even get a warning. What else do you really want me to say? This isn't some conspiracy theory. This is actuality. This is the world we're living in. And I think it's absolutely disgusting. Don't forget, E-Rob got a 30-day for threatening a viewer. That's also very true. I remember that. Yep. It's as clear as day, guys. TOS does not apply to the people who Twitch agree with. And I think it's absolutely disgusting. And this is why I'm glad that I'm live on Twitch. To inform you guys that I'm also live on Kick and YouTube. You can join me anytime. I stream every day at 9 a.m. GMT on all platforms. You can join me over here on Kick and YouTube anytime you want. Link will even be in this YouTube video description. And yeah, just like, comment, subscribe to this video, and turn the bell on for all notifications. It's great. This is why I'm glad I'm still here live on Twitch. Just to make sure Twitch knows, hey man, even your boys are finding out about your malpractices. This is a joke. This is an absolute joke. Guys, this should be a 1 month minimum. 1 month minimum. And I know Hassan has had warnings in the past. Warnings that should have been very long bans. Let's keep going here.
Against the Twitch terms of service, right?
Write a petition? Let's do a crusade, he says. Let's do a fucking crusade, he says. Let's hit. Go on a petition? Fucking put malware in my phone? Is that what you're gonna do? You skinny bitch.
This is why I'm glad I get to be the example of hypocrisy. So some people are going to say, oh, so what, now Hassan can't defend himself? Well, there was another guy, and I'm trying to remember who that guy was, who was getting career-ending accusations that were already proven false by some very popular female streamers that defended himself by retaliating back to their attack, and he got banned for 2 weeks. So, do we understand that it doesn't matter what you say, it doesn't matter what you think? There's a very clear bias. Let's be clear. And guys, I want to make this very clear. I think I should have been banned, and I think the opposite should have been banned. Just like in this situation, I believe that Shatter should have been permanently banned off the platform, and I believe Hassan should have been banned at least for 1 month. At least a month. There's nobody in the right here. Everybody's in the fucking wrong. That's the issue. The first guy who Hassan doxed responded. The guy who Hassan falsely crashed out, I never responded to violent accusations. I definitely did not comment any of the messages you read, but thanks for calling me an ugly, skinny bitch, I guess. Yeah. That is a little nuts. Yep. Do you notice how Hassan immediately goes to attack someone's appearance immediately, off of nothing? This guy who most likely supports him, I would have crashed out much harder.
And to be clear, nothing that Hassan said would be necessarily impermissible. He could say all those things. He could call them, I believe his technical word was a skinny bitch, all he wants. That would have been perfectly fine. He could yell at this guy the whole night, scream at this guy the whole night. The problem was the weapon combined with the document.
I know you said he can call him an ugly, skinny bitch all he wants, but I want to remind you, I got banned for calling someone fat and for calling an OnlyFans girl a whore. I am curious to know his thoughts on that. I am very curious. I am very curious to hear Leo Minds' thoughts on that.
right? All the other stuff he could do. That's his show. He can run it how he wants. That wouldn't necessarily be against TOS to just yell at the guy the whole night and make fun of the guy. That's fine. Do it your way. Not what we do on my channel. But hey, he can do it on his channel all he wants. But with that, you open yourself up to a bunch of problems. And Twitch is opened up to a bunch of problems because now they've got to decide what they're going to do with Hassan. And in the past, they've only given him slaps on the wrist. That is, they've given him 1 day or 24-hour bans or sometimes 12-hour bans. And that's been all they've done with him. But now we've got a serious problem because we've got a situation in which if he is not banned for this, this opens up this behavior for others. So it opens up this behavior, these threats for other people, which can bring on what appears to be real weapons, knives, bombs. And
well, that's how it would work normally, Legal Mindset. But the problem is that it